الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. اللهم لك الحمد حتى ترضى ولك الحمد إذا رضيت ولك الحمد بعد الرضا. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to Majalis Ramadan, day 18. And in day 18, alhamdulillah, we're going to reach Juzu 18, alhamdulillah, and discuss Juzu 18. And Juzu 18 is consistent of about 2 full surahs and the beginning of another surah. So the surahs will be covered, inshallah ta'ala, Surah Al-Mu'minun and Surah Al-Nur and Surah Al-Furqan. And the number of verses in this Juzu is 202 ayats of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we're going to cover Surah Al-Mu'minun, all of it, and Surah Al-Nur, all of it, and the first 20 verses of Surah Al-Furqan. And if you are using a Quran that's 604 pages, they are the pages of 242 to 361. As for the dominant themes of those surahs, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Mu'minun is going to give us مقارنة صفات المؤمنين بمصير الكافرين, comparing the characteristics of the believers and who are the believers are and what is the faith or the fate of the non-believers or the disbelievers. And in Surah Al-Nur, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to illustrate to us that the Sharia or the Islamic law that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have legislated, whatever law that Allah legislated, it is what is going to be good for society in general. And given the conditions we're living in, most of us Muslims are finding out the beauty of legislation of Islam, alhamdulillah, and why Islam legislated the things that it legislated. And in Surah Al-Furqan, the dominant theme is عاقبة التكذيب بالرحمن والقرآن. What would be the consequences of disbelieving or denying or lying about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ar-Rahman, and the Quran. So these are the dominant themes. As for the more in-depth themes in Surah Al-Mu'minun, as you can tell, Al-Mu'minun, there's alhamdulillah multiple themes in this ayah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala started by describing the characteristics of the believers. Then he moved in, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala trying to prove his will, qadr, and the resurrection. And then gave a general call to the call of the Prophet, give us a general information about the message of the prophets and the messengers, what they called people to. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala moved in the believers' descriptions and give more details on that. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, toward the end of the surah, he really gave us some scenes from the day of judgment and what would it be like, and then ended by giving us scenes from the day of judgment, and then give us the dua, the wonderful dua toward the end of the surah. As for Surah Al-Nur, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mentioned multiple themes in here. There's basically the limits that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala set. What are certain limits that we cannot transgress beyond? These are what makes the boundaries for our Islamic law. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about social etiquettes. What should we behave like and behave in society? And you see the social etiquettes at the beginning of the surah and also toward the end of the surah too. And then in between, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put that while populating the masajid, I know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have willed that we don't populate the masajid, but inshallah ta'ala Allah will remove this waba soon and will help us to overcome it. Why populating the masajid is important. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke about some of the characteristics of the hypocrites and their behaviors. And then in Surah Al-Furqan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like we talked about, is the consequences of denying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Quran. So these are the 2 dominant themes of Surah Al-Furqan. As for what lessons we're going to learn today, alhamdulillah, I kind of jumped ahead in Surah Al-Furqan because there is something unique in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought in Surah Al-Mu'minun and Surah Al-Furqan. In Surah Al-Mu'minun, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, indeed successful are the believers, and He gave them characteristics. And that was at the beginning of the surah. Then in Surah Al-Furqan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala toward the end of the surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَعِبَادُ الرَّحْمَنِ الَّذِينَ يَمْشُونَ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ هَوْنًا. And the slaves or the servants of Ar-Rahman, and gave characteristics. So inshallah ta'ala, to help us to be among inshallah ta'ala the believers and to be from the Ibadur Rahman, because being among the believers but then having the attributes of being a slave of Ar-Rahman, this is really an honorable state that you and I should strive for. Now you can see in the slide I'm putting the Arabic, but just to assure you, there is the English side of it. So if I don't show you, there will be in English. So when the email goes out, you will see that attached to, in the attachment. There will be the English side of it. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Mu'minun, He said, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. And He gave them characteristics. And these are the characteristics that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned. الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. The ones that are humble and tranquil in their salat. عَنِ اللَّغْوِ مُعْرِضُونَ. Whenever they hear vain talk or talk that does not benefit, does not add value, they turn away from it. هُمْ لِلزَّكَاةِ فَاعِلُونَ. And they give their zakat. And this is very, very important to you and I. We are in the month of Ramadan, alhamdulillah. And now we are approaching the last nights of Ramadan. It's time to think about Zakatul Mal and Zakatul Fitr. Alhamdulillah, an email should have went out telling us, informing us about Zakatul Fitr and how we're going to collect it. Alhamdulillah. And Zakatul Mal, don't forget the poor and the needy that you might be able to help. This is an opportunity and a great time to do it. We are approaching the last 10 nights of Ramadan. Inshallah ta'ala, the deeds will be multiplied. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala added, هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حَافِظُونَ. They are protective of their private parts, except what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mandated or made permissible. هُمْ لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ وَعَهْدِهِمْ رَاعُونَ. Whenever they are entrusted with something, and whenever they give a promise, they keep it. And this is something very, very important to us Muslims. As we live in a non-Muslim society, this is the tendency sometimes we get relaxed on that kind of aspect of قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ, the falah, the success, what it looks like. The success of this dunya. So in order for us to attain the success of the akhirah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ. When we are entrusted with something, we do the best we can. And then when we give a promise, we deliver on our promise. This is very, very important, very crucial. Because that's how you can attract actually non-Muslims to Islam. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ended those strings of ayat, هُمْ عَلَى صَلَوَاتِهِمْ يُحَافِظُونَ. And they maintain their salat. They're consistent with their salat. And today, we talked about, populating the masajid. Sometimes we get encouraged to come to salat. When we are in jama'ah, we get, feed off of each other, and pray. But now we are isolated. We are sitting at home. So make it a point that you gather your family, call the adhan, make the iqamah, and pray together in jama'ah. Alhamdulillah, these are very, very important aspects. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave a promise for those people that attain and do these things. What did He say? أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْوَارِثُونَ. These are the inheritors. What are they going to inherit? الَّذِينَ يَرِثُونَ الْفِرْدَوْسَ هُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ. They will inherit the Al-Firdaus. And Al-Firdaus, as the Prophet ﷺ informed us, is one of the highest places of Jannah. There is Jannah, there will be multiple degrees and multiple levels. Al-Firdaus is one of the highest one. أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ يَرِثُونَ الْفِرْدَوْسَ هُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ. And they will dwell in it for eternity. So this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described in Surah Al-Mu'minun. Now we come across to Surah Al-Furqan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about Ibadur Rahman. And He said, وَعِبَادُ الرَّحْمَنَ الَّذِينَ يَمْشُونَ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ هَوْنًا. And these are some of the characteristics that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described them with. Let me go through, inshallah ta'ala. We'll do some analogy in here for us to really comprehend and understand, inshallah ta'ala. The first thing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke about, يَمْشُونَ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ هَوْنًا. That means they are humble. They are very with tranquil, with peace and ease. They walk on earth. They're not arrogant when they walk on earth. وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. When you are talking to people, and if you are discussing things with them, and you feel that they are, there's ignorance coming out of them, walk away from this. وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. And we all have seen this. Alhamdulillah, the ones that adults among us, we have seen this. So walking away is the best thing instead of keep arguing and keep deliberating and discussion. يَبِيتُونَ لِرَبِّهِمْ سُجَّدًا وَقِيَامًا. The Ibadur Rahman, and this is the month of Ramadan, alhamdulillah. We are spending the nights of Ramadan, inshallah ta'ala, in the sujood and qiyamul layl to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is from the characteristics of Ibadur Rahman. And they are the one يقولون ربنا اصرف عنا عذاب جهنم إن عذابها كان غراما. So take advantage of the sujood and the qiyam you do during the night and make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to relieve us from the punishment of hellfire. Indeed, its punishment is very, very severe. So this is an opportune time for you and I to really get closer to become from the ones, the mu'mineen that are successful, inshallah ta'ala, and from also Ibadur Rahman. There's a great opportunity for you and I to do that. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, which touches upon the zakat. You can tie it actually to the zakat. Okay? إِذَا أَنفَقُوا لَمْ يَصْرِفُوا وَلَمْ يَقْتَرُوا وَكَانَ بَيْنَ ذَلِكَ قَوَامًا. They are not open, they spend everything they have, nor do they hold everything back. There is somewhere in the middle. So what Allah legislated and the sadaqat you want to give, go ahead and take care of them. وَلَا يَدْعُونَ مَعَ اللَّهِ إِلَهًا آخَرَ. And they do not call upon any other ilah other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is very, very important, because we said النجاة من الوباء توحيد الله سبحانه وتعالى. To really save ourselves from this plague and this endeavor that we're in, it is really, we have to go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. That's why the tawheed of Allah and especially tawheed al-ubudiyyah is very, very crucial in this time. وَلَا يَقْتُلُونَ النَّفْسَ الَّتِي حَرَّمَ اللَّهُ إِلَّا بِالْحَقِّ. They do not kill a soul except with a just cause. And there are just causes, and we spoke about this one before. وَلَا يَزْنُونَ. And then you can tie it, هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حَافِظُونَ وَلَا يَزْنُونَ. So you see the similarities and the analogies as being drawn between Ibadur Rahman, Al-Mu'minun, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from those people. وَلَا يَشْهَدُونَ الزُّورِ. And they do not testify falsely. They do not give false testimony. When they are asked to give a testimony, they give the truth, even if it's against them or against any of their family members. وَإِذَا مَرُّوا بِاللَّغْوِ مَرُّوا كِرَامًا. In here, عَنِ اللَّغْوِ مُعْرِضُونَ. وَإِذَا مَرُّوا بِاللَّغْوِ مَرُّوا كِرَامًا. And how we mar kirama? وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. So you start tying all of these pieces together, and you see the moral system that Islam is trying to give us and put in place. Walhamdulillah. وَإِذَا ذُكِّرُوا بِآيَاتِ رَبِّهِمْ لَمْ يَخِرُّوا عَلَيْهَا صُمًّا وَعُمْيَانًا. When the verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the ayat of Allah, and this is the moment when you pray Taraweeh and you hear the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, don't take them lightly. Listen to them very carefully and try to comprehend and analyze and understand what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us. So that means when the ayats of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has been recited, we must understand them, we must apply them, instead of turning a blind eye and just not as if we never heard anything. وَالَّذِينَ يَقُولُونَ رَبَّنَا هَبْ لَنَا مِنْ أَزْوَاجِنَا وَذُرِّيَّاتِنَا قُرَّةَ أَعْيُنٍ وَاجْعَلْنَا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ إِمَامًا. The one that make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Again, we're talking about the dua. رَبَّنَا اصْرِفْ عَنَّا عَذَابَ جَهَنَّمَ. يَقُولُ رَبَّنَا هَبْ لَنَا. Oh Allah, give us from our wives and our husbands progeny that is a pleasure to our eye, will make us, when we look at them, we are proud to have those children. So my advice to you today, with our teenagers, with Ramadan, I have a feeling that some of our teenagers are sleep fasting, meaning they sleep during the day. And I caution against this. You need to wake them up. Moms and dads, this is your responsibility. Okay? In order for them to understand what Ramadan is all about, they cannot sleep their fast. They have Salatul Dhuhr, they have Salatul Asr they have to attain to. They have to do certain activities. They have responsibility for the school. They have to do their homework. I know the school will be over in a week or so, which is, alhamdulillah, that's great. So make sure that وَجَعَلْنَا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ إِمَامًا, and make us an example, a good role model or example for those people that have taqwa. لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't say لِلْمُسْلِمِينَ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ, He said لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. So these are some of the benefits we can draw from those, from this juz'u, alhamdulillah. And I know in Surah Al-Furqan, I jumped ahead, but alhamdulillah, to give us the analogy that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have drawn. And really quickly, I have a question in here. Is there a message you want to give related to Ibadur Rahman, to my son? Alhamdulillah. Yes, the message I want to give them, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first of all to make us from Ibadur Rahman, because this is really an honor for us to be among that exclusive category. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to call us Ibadur Rahman, this is probably, out of all of the success you might have in life or you might have attained, to be called Abdur Rahman, Wallahi alladhi la ilaha illahu, this is the best of the best. Should be the top of the pyramid, as they call it, at the peak of the pyramid. And in order for you to be called that, look what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. أُولَٰئِكَ يُجْزَوْنَ الْغُرْفَةَ بِمَا صَبَرُوا وَيُلَقَّوْنَ فِيهَا تَحِيَّةً وَسَلَامًا. How would you like, now you're in Jannah, right? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have considered you among the Ibadur Rahman. Now your status is يُلَقَّوْنَ الْغُرْفَةَ. This is a place in Jannah specifically for Ibadur Rahman. This is a status that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to get. Why? Bima sabaru. So it's going to require some sabr, some patience. And this is the time where we should exercise patience. It should teach us that patience. And that's why we need to wake up our kids during the day so they can learn how to be patient, and instead of just sleeping our problems away, meaning brush them under the rug and just walk away from the problems. No, this is the time where we need to confront those problems and lean back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَإِلَا قَوْنَ فِيهَا تَحِيَّةً وَسَلَامًا. How would you like to be greeted? And the greeting of Islam, Assalamu alaikum, when you enter Jannah. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said what? خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا. You will be in it for eternity. حَسُنَتْ مُسْتَقَرًّا وَمُقَامًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said it's one of the best. Think of the best place you rather be at and live of the rest of your life. I mean, think of it this moment. Think of that moment. This is the place I really want to be, and this is where I want to spend the rest of my life, and this is what I want to do. Okay? In Jannah, it's mind-boggling. It's not even that, it's more than that. So this is what at stake, dear brothers and sisters. So my advice to all of us, to relating to Ibad al-Rahman, live it, actualize it in your life. Understand those characteristics, okay? Know what needs to be done. Alhamdulillah, to be from the mu'mineen, alhamdulillah, salat. Work on your khushu' and your salat. Stay away from vain talk. When you have the ability to give zakat, give zakat. Protect your private parts. Fulfill your promises that you give. And maintain your salat. That puts you in the category of the mu'minun. And then there is some additions in here, some other additional things to put us in the Ibad al-Rahman. Again, this is not about just entering Jannah, dear brothers and sisters. Inshallah ta'ala, we will enter Jannah. By the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we will enter Jannah. But where do you want to be at in Jannah? Think of this, all of these things. What is the best place you want to be at? And do you want to be next to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Imagine for a moment. You entered Jannah and you walked into your dwelling in Jannah and you pass by and you see a Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You see Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu wa ardah, Umar wa Uthman wa Ali wa Aisha, all of those great companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And it happens that you recognize that and you sit down and you start talking to them. Imagine this for a moment. Imagine. Not even better than that. Imagine if you were able to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the day of, in Jannah. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will allow us to see Him. So these are what at stake. So my advice to all of us to take these characteristics, study them very carefully and work on them, and maybe you can come up with a chart, okay, and see where you're at and be a self-critic of yourself and assess yourself, inshallah ta'ala. Of course, I can talk a little bit more and more, but I'm going to stop right here. Alhamdulillah, I exceeded way beyond my time, but this is from the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among the mu'mineen al-muflihun and from Ibad al-Rahman, inshallah ta'ala. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to continue to guide us and protect us and remove this waba from humanity, inshallah. وبهذا سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.